Hello and welcome. My name is Grace. This is my channel. And you know what? Today, I want to do something a little more lighthearted. Let's do something a little fun. Let me share with you my some deck mods I've done recently. How's about some deck mods? Some spooky season decks that I enjoy year after year after year after year, and they're updated versions. All right, so let's start with, I need to explain that I learned something about myself. I'm spooky, but spooky cute or spooky real. Let me explain. I am not a horror movie aficionado in any way. Like, for me, horror, especially Catholic horror, oh my God, makes my I just can't because, like a child, my suspension of disbelief is so strong, coupled with the fact that I have had paranormal experiences. It's like, just no, I just can't. Gore, well, I'm a nurse. And I guess there's something about the gore that for me is just, it just goes, I know lots of nurses that love gory movies, and I just, I can't. Gore, for the sake of gore, I can't. And this, I'm trying to think back. At first I thought, well, could it be like after my kids were born? Because I don't know, those of you who have children, something shifts in us after we give birth, where there's like, I can't tolerate any kind of violence against children, any kind of abuse of children, since I have my own kids. But gore, for the sake of gore, a gore fest, I can't. I can't even explain it. Anyway, so I'm spooky traditional or spooky cute. Not really spooky cute. Like, I don't like seeing cute and spooky mixed together. I'm very complex, people. What I'm trying to say is that I like vintage Halloween imagery. Love vintage Halloween imagery. And I'm going to be on the lookout for some vintage Halloween imagery on the internet or whatever, and I'm going to I'm going to make something. I'm going to do a little crafting, a little plastic arts, like when I was in grade school. And today I'm going to share with you a couple of deck mods. Now, these decks I have featured on my channel before. One of them is the famous Boomerang deck, the Ghosts and Spirits. This is probably the fifth one I've owned. I purchased the first one. I didn't connect with it. I passed it on. Then I got one in a trade, and then I got another one just sent to me, and then another one in a trade also. It was just an extra thrown in that I didn't know I was going to get. And then this last one, a friend sent it to me. And all the times that I owned this deck, I just couldn't read it. I couldn't read it because I couldn't see. My gripe with this deck was I couldn't see the artwork. It's very fine, detailed artwork. Those of you familiar with Lisa Hunt's artwork, you know it's very fine detail. The cards need to be larger. And I have the app on my tablet, and it's stupendous to see her art backlit on a tablet. And, you know, enlarged so you can actually see the detail. It's incredible. I have her Fairy Tale Tarot app as well. And it's like, come on, people. These apps, Canadian, they're like $5.99. And you get the cards and the guidebook. In the case where there's like, you know, full guidebooks, you get that as part of the app. And again, when it comes to Lisa Hunt's art that I absolutely adore, I just love it, love it, love it. On a tablet, yeah, it's great. So, but this deck I kept. This is the last one to come in. And because it just happens to come in, I received it, I think, in early September. We're approaching spooky season, and I thought, you know what? I'll keep it. It comes with a really decent little white book, and it really needs the little white book. Really needs it because there's a different ghost on each card based on a ghost in folk tales or history or, from around the world. And it has these cute little ghosty backs, but the ghosty backs didn't quite match the art on the front. So on the front, it had this really beautiful art with the parchment border around it. And the backs, which I don't have one to show you because I modified mine, had the ghosts and it had a stark white border. Didn't mind the backs, it's cute. But I could not see. And my impression of this deck was they all look the same. All the cards look the same. I can't read this well. I think it was last weekend or the weekend before. I modified it. I said, you know what? This is the 5th one that comes into my life. I think I'm gonna give it a good trim. I trimmed the white borders. I trimmed it based on the white borders on the back. I had originally left a white border on the bottom because of the titles on the cards, and then I thought I hated it. It didn't look complete. So here it is. I cut it off. Turns out the titles are just, some of them are just slightly shaved off, like long letters, because the font is cursive. But look, those of you who have this deck, look what difference it makes trimmed. So I'm gonna lie. I'd be lying if I said that the backs aren't part of the appeal. They totally are. And look, I edged mine to kind of match those colors on the backs and some of the colors on the fronts. So when I trimmed the stark white borders and the parchment around here, I saw that this actually does work with the deck. I'm a fan of sheet ghosts, people. I love my sheet ghosts. They're very classic. I had originally rounded the corners with medium, made a mistake. I turned it around because I have one of those Kaduru ones and Kaduru corner rounders, and I hit it with large, and then I just did them all large and beautiful. It's not too large. And yeah, I am just freaking in love with it. And I'm a very tactile person. I know this about me because I love the way it looks and feels. It's not trimming it didn't make it so stiff. It still riffle shuffles and bridges, and I'm actually using it now. And look at this. Sometimes it's just a feast for the senses to see this, right? So that's one. Keeping it light for this video because I'm so happy spooky season has descended upon us. So happy. All right, the next one is a repurchase. So during the deck culling madness, I moved on my first deck of my first one of this one. I'm going to show you. I don't know why I'm being coy. Anyway, It lives in here. This is a beautiful box. It's one of those dollar store boxes. My daughter's partner, they were so wonderful. They painted it for me and then put a little gloss on it, because it was one of those just raw wood kind of boxes from the dollar store. Anyway, I ended up moving my first ever mod was a Halloween tarot. It was my Halloween tarot that I had from me. Okay. I ended up moving it along because it was done with really dull scissors. It was my first ever mod. But the worst part of it wasn't the fact that it was, I had trimmed it following the borders on the front of the cards, which left a very thin white border around the backs. I took the Sharpie, I edged it in black, and then I covered up all the white. That deck never dried. Well, it felt dry, but it always stained my hands. And I think my favorite mod of this deck is people who blacken, who don't trim it. They just blacken the white borders on both sides. That's probably my favorite mod. If I could ensure that it wouldn't rub off on my hands, because the black rubbing off on my hands messes with my enjoyment of it. It just distracts. Now I'm sniffing it because I had one of those Crayola markers, marshmallow scented black markers. The coverage is a bit meh. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, if you could see that it's not exactly jet black. I could probably go over it again if I wanted to, but you know what? It doesn't rub off on my hands, so I'm happy. So this one, I trimmed it differently. This one, I trimmed the backs. Trimming the backs, you lose a little, you shave off a little bit of the art on the sides of these cards. But I'm really happy with it. I'm using it. This one's very Rider Waite. The Ghosts and Spirits is not very Rider Waite, I don't find. I think the Ghosts and Spirits is his own thing. I use it for a different kind of reading. The intention I had when I first purchased my first Ghosts and Spirits was to use it in spirit communication. And right now it's more what I use it for. This is a Rider Waite inspired deck. Super fun for spooky season. I do end up pulling it out in the summer when I hate summer. I hate summer. When I need some spooky season vibes. Oh my God, look at the sun, the ogre. And I love this because the backs remind me of the candy wrappers on that taffy. Well, I grew up in Canada, and we would get the Halloween candies. I think it was on that Tire Saint Catherine, taffy. Damn it. I don't remember what the candy's called in English. But they were molasses candies. And the wrappers had this kind of art on it. I'm sure they still exist. And so for me, this is very vintage, very, very, very traditional Halloween imagery. I know someone had messaged me and said there's a jack-o'-lantern tarot by Lo Scarabeo published. That's not for me. This kind of art is for me, and I'd like to say I don't only pull out in spooky season. I pull it out in the summer when I'm like just dying and waiting for spooky season to arrive. All right, so that's my second mod. So these are the two modifications, two deck modifications I worked on in September. Interesting that they're not new to me decks. They were just brand new decks of decks I already owned at one point. And I was able to reflect and to modify them the way that it makes me happy. For Oracle, so I went through a lot of decks, people. A lot. And this is the only one I kept that has that autumn. No, I kept two that have an autumn. Well, this one has an autumn vibe. Okay. One of them is Mass Market. When I first got it, I thought I needed to read the books in order to get this oracle, to get it. You know what I mean? For me to get good readings from it. I put it aside. I think at some point it even got rehomed, and this is one that I actually replaced. Now you must be watching this and going, whoa, 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 whoa! You're replacing? Yeah. For probably every. Okay, I don't want to say the number. A lot. I've replaced about maybe 5 at least that were stress culled, and then I missed them. And it's this one. This one, the production on this one's gorgeous. Come on, like this box that looks like a book, and the little guidebook, and these cards. The artwork on these cards is phenomenal. And I haven't read any of the books by this author, and I still get some really, really good readings from it. I just love it. So this is the one that is my spooky season witchy oracle deck. It covers a lot of bases for me. It rings a lot of bells. I just love it. The artwork. I had wanted for the longest time. I had on my wish list the Earthly Souls and Spirits Oracle, but it's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. You could get it on Make Plain Cards. I don't know what it's like for Americans, but if you're in Canada, or I imagine Australia, or UK, or any other country in Europe or whatever, it's just it's too expensive. It's too expensive for something that I'm not sure I'm gonna keep. And right now I'm at a place where I don't even. Right now I'm at a place where I love what I kept, and I'm not buying anything new for quite some time, except for one that I might. There's one tarot deck that I have my eye on that I'm not sure. I'll have to wait till it's released and see what it looks like. So this is Raven's Wand, and this one again totally surprised me. And the reason I replaced it was that I had rehomed it, and then I came across one of my own videos, and it was my own video that said, "Oh." Made me miss it. It's like, oh, I did like it. I wonder what possessed me. I know what possessed me. It was deck overwhelmed that possessed me. So I ended up replacing this one. I'm just going to pause for a second because I forgot one. And I'm back. All right. So, and one that another Oracle deck I wanted to share. So I'm not sharing all... this is not one of those all my spooky season decks, all my Samhain decks, or whatever, all those kind of like themed decks. Just the two that I've been really enjoying, because those two tarot decks I modified them in September and I'm really enjoying them. And then the two Oracle decks that I'm working with since September, and I'll be working with, like, for the next little while. And it's Urban Crow Oracle. This is by MJ Cullinane, and I pulled out 4 cards from this deck that really capture this time of year for me. And I look at the backs. I didn't jive at all with the Crow Tarot. Her Crow Tarot has crow energy, okay? Very, very crow energy. It's loud, it's obnoxious. If you are connected to crow energy in any way, crow spirit, you get it. You look at that deck and you totally get it. It's loud, obnoxious, festive, colorful, in your face, just like crows. I have a stronger connection to Raven energy, which is more otherworldly, more psychopomp, more like, it's more the Raven is the owl's goth brother. You know what I mean? I don't know, just making shit up. Anyway, but I love I love this deck. I love the color palette. I gotta tell you another thing that I love about it. I love the production of this one. Plain brown cardboard with this with a decal applied to it, which is a little off center. The guidebook is just is stapled like a brochure. Is it stapled? Yeah, stapled like a brochure. And the attention went to the actual cards. Beautiful. I could riffle shuffle these. They slide really nice. And oh my God. Again, did I tell you how much I love the backs? Love it, love it, love it. This is the color palette of the whole deck, which is very autumnal, wintry. But what I love about this Oracle deck is that there are cards in here that you could see the different. You could see the 4 seasons in them. And I pulled or picked out 4 that are very autumnal, trickery, fear. This one because of the colors. Wrath. Oh my God. This is the card that made me pre-order it. This is the only deck I ever purchased in pre-order without seeing what the rest of it looks like. This is the card that made me order it. There was this one and a few others, but this one was like, oh my gosh. Okay. And of course, appropriate for this season. God, sorry, people. Release. Gorgeous. So that's my spooky season decks that I'm currently working with. As we travel through spooky season, I will most likely share some other ones that I'm working with. I don't have anything new to show you, but they're mine my decks that I kept from the overwhelm. I don't want anybody to think I didn't go back down to just 1 deck or 2 decks or something like that. That's never going to happen. But there's a theme. There's a theme of the decks I did keep, and you've all seen them before. All right. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. Please, in the comments down below, share with me are you a spooky season person? I know it's very Northern Hemisphere and very North American and European, this season and this feeling. So in the comments below, if you are a spooky season kind of person, if this is the time of year that makes you come alive, share with me what are your favorite decks that you are using this spooky season. Tarot, Oracle, something else. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.